All right. And pin. Here we go. All right. Let me get to, okay, Victor Felix. I met Victor, like I said, a couple of months ago, and he has absolutely been one of my favorite people here on Alignable, not only for his personality, because Victor and I really get along personally, we are in alignment with the way we do business. So when I find people in my sphere of influence that are in my vibe personally and professionally, they go on my top 25 list of people I want to surround myself with. So Victor is definitely on that list. And Victor is a brand strategist. He utilizes the power of story to help companies connect with prospective clients and build customer loyalty so they can generate more revenue. He previously worked with teens in the juvenile detention center and jail and helped people with disabilities to gain employment. He is a Brainz 500 Global Award Official Honoree and the founder of Community Leadership Network. His favorite food is pretty much anything Caribbean. When he's not doing brand strategy, he likes to read, enjoy a good inspirational movie, go to the beach, and hang out with family and friends. Welcome, Victor. Thank you so much for taking your time for us today, and I'm going to pass it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Sam. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Kind of did it prematurely earlier, but all right. And let me move this over here. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Can everybody see it? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. All right. Nobody give me a thumbs. See a thumbs up there. That's all right. All right. So yeah, I just want to thank you, Sam, for the invitation to share with everyone today. And let me tell you, Sam, you are one of my favorite people too. You know, from the first one-to-one we had, I just saw that you were genuine, that you cared about people, that you love what you did, that you're good at what you do. And I'm looking forward to our follow-up one-to-one here on Friday. I don't know if you saw, but I booked on your calendar. So looking forward. You know, Sam, when we first met, Sam was just authentic. She just shared her story. And I was like, this is someone I'm definitely going to be able to get along with. So yeah, looking forward to our follow-up one-to-one. So we're going to be talking about how you can grow your business utilizing the power of story. There was this French poet, his name was Jacques Prévert, and he's walking along the street one day. And as he's walking along, he sees a homeless man on the side of the road. And on this particular day, he just decides to go up and talk to the man. And as he starts talking to him, he realizes he's not only homeless, but he's also blind. And so he just asked the man, you know, how are things going? How are you doing? And the blind man said, well, things are not going so well. People pass by me. They don't really pay attention to me. They don't really give me any money. Can you give me some money? Well, Jacques says, well, sorry, I'm just a poor writer. There's not much I can do to help you. But why don't you give me your sign? And so the man hands him his sign, and the man had a cardboard sign that said, I'm blind. It just simply said, I'm blind. And so Jacques takes the sign, he writes something on it, and then he gives it back to the man, and he goes about his day. Well, a few days later, Jacques is walking down the same street, sees the same blind homeless man, and asks him once again, how are you doing? And this time the man's tune had changed. He said, oh man, people stop and they give me money all the time. My hat fills up 3 times a day. Thank you, thank you, thank you for what you wrote on my sign. And on the sign, Jacques had simply written, spring is coming, but I won't see it. When the man was just telling people that he was blind before, nobody really paid attention. But when Jacques took the man's plight and turned it into a story, people did 2 things. They began to care and they began to give money. So why should you tell stories in business? I'm going to share with you 4 reasons why. Number 1, stories help the buyer relax and just listen. In his book, The 60-Second Sales Hook, sales expert Kevin Rogers observes of most buyers, one glance that a sales pitch is being slung your way and your mental door slams shut. Can somebody say amen? I know you've gotten those messages, whether it's on LinkedIn or Alignable, They barely know your name and they're already they're messaging you with their sales pitch. And you're like, I don't ever want to talk to you in life, you know? And so we don't want to be pitched, but what stories allow us to do is simply to just relax and listen. Number two, stories help build strong relationships. Mike Parrott, who's the vice president and general manager at Costco Wholesale, he says, if all other things are equal, buyers will buy from a salesperson they like the best and trust the most. We all know that KLT factor, that know, like, and trust. Stop vomiting all your information about how amazing your product and service is on people and build the know, like, and trust first. Guys, it breaks the ties. And in business, there are a lot of ties. Number three, stories speak to the part of the brain where decisions are actually made. So here's the thing. It doesn't help to try to rationally explain with facts why people should buy from you. I'm going to say that one more time because somebody missed it. It doesn't help to rationally explain with facts why people should buy from you. And you're going to see this in a minute, but people don't make purchasing decisions from the rational part of their brain, that frontal, that neocortex. They don't do it from there. They do it from the emotional. And the best way to emotionally connect with somebody is through a story. All right, so I want you to take a look at this graphic here on how storytelling affects the brain. And I want you to pay attention to the lower right quadrant, right? So when processing facts, only 2 areas of your brain are activated. But when you hear a well-told story, 5 or even more parts of your brain begin to light up, which tells us that we are naturally wired for stories. This is just plain neuroscience. Number 4, stories make it easier for the buyer to remember you, your ideas, and your product. I say tell facts and be forgotten, tell stories and be phenomenal. Many studies show that facts are easier to remember if they're embedded in a story than if they're delivered in any other form. All right, so real quick, I need someone to come off mute and just read this short paragraph for me, please.
Gotcha. Says 2 legs sits on 3 legs, eating 1 leg. Then along comes 4 legs and steals 1 leg from 2 legs. 2 legs then hits 4 legs with 3 legs and gets his 1 leg back.
All right, Trevor, from what you just read, is your brain able to make sense of what you just read?
Not at the moment, no.
Not really, right? All right. So let's see what happens. Well, let me say this first. Unfortunately, this is what a lot of business owners sound like when they're giving their elevator pitch at a networking event, or you go to a chamber meeting or in person, whatever event it is. This is what a lot of people sound like. Unfortunately, for some of you, you've been, giving this elevator pitch for years to the same people, and they still don't even understand what you do or why you matter. All right, so let's see what happens when we take this and turn it into a story. Trevor, can you read this again for me, please?
A young boy sits on a stool eating a chicken bone. Then along comes a dog that steals the chicken bone from the boy. The boy then hits the dog with the stool and gets his chicken bone back.
All right, I know this story is still a little bit crazy, but is your brain able to make sense of what's going on here, Trevor?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So see, what would happen if you were telling more stories in your marketing, say your elevator pitch, your website, your social media, your emails, instead of just pitching to people? I'll tell you what would happen. People would care and want to give you money. All right, so I want you to put into the chat really quick. Put into the chat, give me 2 to 3 guesses on what you think is the fastest growing company of all time. What's the fast? And I'm gonna pull this up here. Give me the fastest growing, what you think is the fastest growing company of all time. All right, Mary Pat says Amazon and Google. Amazon, okay, good guesses. Both companies who are doing Trader Joe's, Apple, okay. Anybody else? A guess on what you think is the fastest growing company of all time? All right, looks like that's all our guesses. Okay, Todd says Meta. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Carrie says Audible. All right, let's see. Sam says Instagram. All right, so believe it or not, guys, Groupon is the fastest growing company of all time. And they did it in part through story. What they did was hire comedy writers from the second city in Chicago to write fictitious stories around the coupons they were emailing to people. And it caused two things to happen. It increased the read rate and people shared it with their friends. And the rest is history. They go viral. Groupon is the fastest growing business of all time. So how do you put your brand story together? All right, so there's going to be three parts to this. Number one is you have a setup, you have a complication, and then lastly, you have a resolution. So as you're putting your brand story together, you want to consider these things. What event or season divides your life into before and after? I'm going to share about that a little bit later. All right, and then what did you overcome to arrive where you are today? You want to take time and write out your story so that people can start genuinely connecting with you. So I've been very blessed and fortunate to have a lot of good people in my life, whether it was family, friends, coworkers, or people who came into my life unexpectedly. But today I want to dedicate this part of my presentation to a very special friend of mine named Amy, who made me believe that I could achieve something even when I was unsure of myself. My mom had said about her, Amy always made you believe that you could do it. And right now, I want to thank the woman who always made me believe that I could do it. It was a Sunday morning. I was a junior in high school and I was running for my first major class officer position. At least it felt major to me. I'd never done anything like this before, so I was definitely in unfamiliar territory. I was on the phone with Amy and she was giving me a game plan for a successful campaign. From what I remember, she was the one who encouraged me to run for office in the first place. What you have to understand is my freshman year in high school was not too good, to say the least. My grades were low. All I really cared about was playing basketball. I was a class clown, and I didn't find this out until a few years ago, but the principal had wanted to kick me out of school. My personal brand had taken a serious hit, and it seemed like my life was headed nowhere fast. My father had left when I was only 8 years old. And before he left my mom, my sister, and I, he told my mom she would never be able to handle me without him in my life. Essentially, he was saying that I was going to be a failure without him. They say that a young Black man without a father in his life will either end up on drugs, in jail, or selling drugs. Well, I wasn't going to do any of those things, but I didn't really have a vision for my life. And without a vision, the people perish. I needed something to get my life in focus. I needed something to aim for. And you know what? I got something better, or should I say someone better. I got Amy. She spoke life into me that day. She made me believe that I could do it. She gave me hope that I could be better. And after Amy instilled that belief in me, I ran for office, won the election, and it would set off a series of events that would change the course of my life. And yes, somehow I did miss this photo being taken. I would go on to hold many leadership positions, do quite a bit of public speaking in high school, and that same principal who wanted to kick me out my freshman year was now thanking me for what I was doing for the school. In my senior year, I became the student body religious vice president, then went off to college to study ministerial theology. What a difference a day makes. I know what you're thinking. How in the world did you go from studying to become a pastor to brand strategist? Well, just like Amy saw the best in me, like so many other good people in my life, I brought that to the world of branding. I have the ability to see what someone else might not see in themselves and bring that out of them. It's about having a vision of a tomorrow that's better than today. It's about being your very best so you can bring the best out in others. Well, as for Amy and I throughout high school, we would have classes together, go on fun band trips, hang out at the banquet, and stay up all night for the graduation party. But it will always be about the series of events that she would set off in my life because she believed that I was someone who could make a difference. I want you to think about, what will you do in your business to make a difference for others? I want to play a short video for you that depicts how we help each other in this journey of life. It's not always going to be easy, but when you have someone there to pick you up when you fall, it can make all the difference.
When troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. When I am on your shoulders, you raise me up to more than I can be.
Business is about bettering people's lives by inspiring them to be change agents in the world. Never start a business just to make money. Start a business to make a difference. And the way you make a difference is by not just seeing people as potential clients or referral partners, but seeing the very best in them, treating them like they matter instead of just a number, going the extra mile to help someone not for money, but simply because it's the right thing to do. Thank you, Amy, for getting me through that leg of the race in high school. And even though you're no longer here to see me run, I hope I've made you proud. Thank you for seeing the best in me. I wish you could see me now. You took an unsure young man and made him believe that anything was possible. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. I love you. I miss you. And I can't wait to see you again. So to learn how to use story to grow your business, you can schedule a needs assessment. I'll put the link in the chat. I want to thank you guys for your time and participation, and I will hand the mic back over to Sam.
Victor, I can't believe you did that to me. You guys, I'm a crier. I am like, oh my gosh, like, whew. But that's what story does. Story gets to the heart of it. And Victor, you know how to tell the story. And I know I will take you off of spotlight. I know you're probably thinking that, and I can't do the same thing at the same time. Okay, there we go. All right. Thank you. I got to stop talking other than say thank you, but who, okay, I'm going to call on Jeffrey. Can I call you out? Talk for a second, Jeffrey. You know Victor well, and you're, again,
Absolutely.
one of my favorite people too.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, because I have tears in my eyes as well. And if that story didn't hit you, you're not human. So, but anyway, yeah, Victor is, you know, I counsel entrepreneurs, mentor entrepreneurs all the time. And tell entrepreneurs constantly that you know, when people become really good at what they do, they learn how to elevate the science of doing anything, because there is a science to doing virtually anything, into an art form. And Victor is an artist in terms of brand management, you know. So I don't know what much more that I can say. You guys you've already seen him. You've heard his story. You've heard a story. You know, in terms of how to tell a story. And you know, I think the world of him. I think the world of you as well, Sam. So I appreciate the opportunity to join this group and be at this event. And you know,
Thank you, Jeffrey. And what I want to do right now is, like, I want this, I want the replay to be in the resources, because I want people to have access to you, Victor, and your presentation. However, any group I lead, I'm a big believer in, if you're not here, you don't get to hear the conversation afterwards. So I really want people to ask questions and stay here for the next half hour and ask Victor questions, be a part of the conversation. But at this point in time, Victor, I am saying thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. I know we had to book you out. Some of the people that I get to come on and do presentations, I book them out ahead of time because of people got full schedules. So Victor and I booked this a while ago. So I'm going to stop the recording. Those of you that are here, hang in here, stay here, get your golden nuggets from Victor. But for the purposes of the recording, I'm stopping the recording for now. And